illustrator. And then if you leave some space in there, I'll say, oh, and why did you?
Yeah, okay.
Why did you continue with that? Okay.
I'm scared.
That's okay. We're just the two of us are talking. They don't
Scared. Who do I look at?
Just the two of us.
Just
We're
the two
talking.
of us.
Just the two of us talking.
You know everything about me, Blake.
No, I want to hear it, and I'm just going to, write down the notes so I can remember to tell somebody else about it. Okay? So just look at me. Don't care about them. That
All right.
Nasty camera.
All right.
It's not you. On the set. On chemistry. Please, quiet. Virginia, tell me, I'm just fascinated by these beautiful masks surrounding you. Let's go way back and find out, where did it all start? Were you interested in this as a little child?
Oh, as a child, I loved to make things out of paper. And paper hats from the comic page, these little paper boats. I made my own paper dolls. And I remember when my parents would go to parties, they always brought home all the paper favors. So I've always enjoyed paper. And then, of course, later on as an artist, I used paper to work on. But, for a long time, I was a painter and a medical illustrator. And I was not using paper three-dimensionally. But paper has always been something I respected. Paper has many qualities, and I try to use them all.
How did you use it as a medical illustrator?
Well, as a medical illustrator, we use different kinds of paper for our work. As a medical illustrator, we used various types of paper for our work. Some which would absorb pastels, some which would allow us to work very sharply in pen and ink for reproduction. But I didn't, very important, but I didn't work three-dimensionally then.
Let Virginia finish the thought before you come in.
Well, I've almost finished my thought. But I had this feeling of three-dimensionality because as a medical illustrator, you had to give the feeling of the depth of whatever you were doing. I mean, the body is not flat. And when you go into it surgically, you go into a certain space, and there are the relationships of the different organs to one another. So medical illustration, in a way, helped me a great deal in my feeling for space. But after a while, I'd had enough of it. I was working, doing mostly illustrations for heart surgeons, which entailed standing very still at the shoulder and looking down over the surgeon. One had to stand on a little stool like that. And after 2 or 3 or 4 hours, my toes went to sleep, and so I decided to play around with my first love, which was sculpture. And during the time that I had been working for the University of Illinois, I'd been a member of the auxiliary, and we made tray favors for the patients. We put them around with little nut cups on the holidays. And I got very good at designing turkeys and angels and Santa Clauses and rabbits and, for about, 4-leaf clovers, whatever holiday was coming up. And I've always played with paper and made little things for my children out of paper. And then when I went back to study sculpture again, and decided to work with sheet metal, I used the paper to form my maquettes, to organize my ideas before I cut into the steel.
Now, what is a maquette?
A maquette is a model. You make a model, say, like this, and then you use the same pattern but instead of using paper, you use another material, steel in my case, or sheet bronze, or copper, brass, aluminum. They're all, each one has its own qualities.
Can we cut this one? Are you hearing?
I hear an airplane or something. What's going on?
No, you hear cough.
Process, two-dimensional.
Yeah, process of making these wonderful masks, these dimensional masks.
Well, mask making is, or a sculpture, is sort of like dressmaking when you're working with a two-dimensional medium. Material is two-dimensional. Sheets of metal are two-dimensional, and of course, paper is. The dressmaker has a pattern, and she cuts it out and sews these pieces together, and the final object, if it were stuffed with paper, would echo the form of the wearer, of a body. I do the same thing with this. Here is a flat piece of paper, and that flat piece of paper is going to be this form, as you see. I can take it and sort of bend it, and then use my Scotch tape, first of all, to hold it together before I paste it. And now you see the form beginning to arise.
Could you hold that up for us so we can see?
See the form? And then, of course, I secure it with this material. This is just paper which has been cut in these zigzags so it'll be flexible.
Like a binding of a dress?
Like the binding of a dress, and then I paste it into these places. As you can see on this mask, there are places where this is used.
Does that strengthen it, Virginia?
Pardon?
Does that strengthen it or give it some
It does, because of course you use paste behind it, but it holds it in place. And then you keep on adding, building up, putting pieces on, putting pieces off. You can put headdresses on.
How do you get the mouths? That seems to me like they would be rather difficult.
The mouths are the most exasperating part of it. And I sort of, well, when I'm working on the mouths, I do it late at night all alone so people can't hear me making all these, well, so I do not have to expurgate my expletives. But I do enjoy it, especially when I come to the part where everything is going together in the right way, which, when I make a mask for a second time, is usually so, because I've done all my experimenting on the first one.
Before we move on to the next question, let me just get a few cutaways. Could you hold up that, the first piece if you held it? Show me the flat pattern first. Just hold that up.
Just hold it up. Here, a flat pattern. And then the side like this?
Yeah, right. I don't think you did that in the original tape, though. Just hold up one piece at a time. Hold up the flat pattern first.
Do you want to go against the blouse?
No, that's okay. And then the other piece. Okay, turn it around. Now hold up the little bit of bonding material. Get close to that. Okay. Take it down. Okay, bring it up into frame where you had it before. Just bring it up higher. Higher. That's it. Turn it around. Show me how it flexes. Good. And then take it back down. Okay, now let me see the mask.
Which mask?
That one right there. And the mouth. Show me how the mouth goes on. Good. Give me a little bit of profile with it.
A little what?
On the mask, a little profile. That's it. Turn it back. Take the mouth away. Take the mask away. Show me the finished mask, too. Good profile. Ooh, that's great.
We didn't talk about the painting of it, but...
Take it down.
No, she has now become the mask. Virginia. You go right into character with that
Virginia,
mask.
what happens to you when you wear a mask? Tell me about it.
Oh, somehow I'm able to shed myself and become this other person, and it's lots of fun.
It's a performance.
Good, you can take it off. Okay.
So much.
Okay. Do you think you have it, or what would you
We
like?
have that. I think we'd like to talk a little bit about the, Blair, we have some questions about the collaboration
Oh, yes.
and working with masks and performance.
You do have questions about the collaboration? I don't have any here.
Well, it first started by Blair and I collaborated first, and then Blair,
How did women do?
and then we became interested, then we started working with Pat because oh, I know. I bought a video camera, didn't you remember? And we made a video called Masks with Gwen, for which Pat did the choreography. And
We started out as I don't know whether you want to just focus on Virginia.
Yeah,
for
let's,
this.
well,
Yeah.
actually, she's doing pretty well. Why don't you just
Yeah.
go ahead? Try not to introduce too many comments while she's talking.
All right, well, I
I
didn't
know it's
remember.
different than conversation, because
Uh-huh.
conversation you want to, add in
I
and say,
didn't
oh,
follow that now.
yeah,
All right. Virginia, why don't you start again and tell us about the beginnings of how your ideas about this and how we met and how it got together.
well, Blair and I were together in a sculpture group at the Evanston Arts Center, and we immediately felt a sympathy between us because both of us had loved dancing. Blair was a much better dancer than I. And when I was setting up an exhibit on the hand at the Art Center, Blair and I worked together to make a videotape of hand dances. For this, we had to have black dresses and a black background, and we were very careful to work in the area between the shoulder and the waist. But this sort of limited us. We couldn't have a more expansive area until we eliminated the face. And in order to do that, I made my first mask, a black mask. And from then on, it progressed. After a while, we didn't want to eliminate the face. We wanted to introduce a mask which did not sink into the background, which was a character, which accented the point of the dance. And for this, I have, I've done a lot of masks now for Pat and her group, and I thoroughly enjoy it because I enter into the dance this way. Do you want me to go on?
That's great. Maybe, well, let's see, what would be another good question?
Pieces up on the
Yes.
piano.
Yes, the early masks were.
Had elastic.
Plastic and
covered.
Look, I mean, it just shows the progress.
Here's one of the black masks.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Wonderful.
Well, one of the things that happened was that when we put these on, the hair came out. So I started eliminating the hair. Well, then we had to have a way of holding them onto the head. So I used the ears for that. And so finally we developed into not only the head form, but also we used the crown for decoration or to emphasize the character that we were trying to show.
Pick up the mask on the table, show me the ear thing, and then put it on.
This mask?
Yeah.
All right. this makes a very firm basis. I mean, you can wiggle your head. One of the things you have to do, which is rather difficult sometimes, is to leave enough space for the dancer to be able to breathe, because the dancer needs more air and more breath than a person who is, say, sitting down.
What about the visibility, too, of the eyes?
Yes, you have to allow visibility, although it depends. If you know your dance very, very well, you need just enough visibility to place yourself on the stage. But of course, it's nicer if you can see well.
So that's custom made.
Oh yes, depends upon it depends upon the character and the demands of the character, whether they have to dance a great deal or whether they should be somewhat stationary and just in a very impressive way move slowly back and forth instead of bob around. Now, do you have any more questions?
You've got to hear these people, and we're going to work with them. And that gave birth to working with their music. Although your handpiece, we've started working in the minute we heard.
Enlargement?
Yes.
Can we frame that in some way?
Okay, so Blair should ask where we got started with MDMP, I think.
Oh, all right.
The history of leading into album. Is that where we want to go? Would that be a good way back?
Well,
Sure.
see, originally we did it due to bringing in, looking for original music.
Well, originally, when Blair and I were working together, we just used phonograph records. But then we decided that we should use original music if possible. There was a matter of copyright. And about this time, at the Chicago Music Festival, about 2 or 3 years ago, I heard the Marcel Duchamp Memorial Players and fell in love with their music. And so I asked them whether I could use some for a video that Blair and I made first. And then Pat shared our enthusiasm and has also worked with their music when she was doing this album number. So we are very devoted to the Marcel Duchamp Memorial Players.
Great. Let's talk about,
Is this the light you're talking about?
yeah, let's talk about a particular again.
All right. Well, when I was asked to make this particular mask, I realized that it should be impressive. Well, there's different ways of making it impressive. One of the ways is by making it outsize. So we made it larger than natural, so that it would dwarf and cow any other creature on the stage at the same time. There were some problems then to make it look natural on the head of the dancer, because it would wobble. We did a lot of engineering to keep it in place. And then there was a matter of color. And I decided to keep it in sort of a light key, but to have very strong form so that it would take light well. The feathers were used because I think there's something very eerie about when the shaking of feathers in the head. They're always associated, in my mind, with very primitive masks. Feathers are also used for costumes in primitive cultures. Is that it?
That's good. Did you have any other mask things in the performance you wanted to talk about? Any other? Yeah.
Well, we combined many masks in that final piece of album in a piece called Spirits, in which the tattoo taboo mask reappeared as
You can put it back.
alphabetized
So we don't
image
hear it.
spirit.
So we don't hear it.
Was
That one was good.
the other power.
Should I
Spirit.
express, should I tell why what the headdress and the love spirit
That would be
means?
very-
Uh-huh.
Want to go get it?
I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put another tape on.
Maybe,
Oh, my.
and where did you get that?
Love spirit underneath is. So what, should I ask
The,
you a question? or
yes,
you just-
yes,
wait a second,
all right.
just putting it in tape, I believe.
Yeah.
I use the scientific symbol of male and female. The ascending cross and the arrow is usually facing down for the female. Wait, no, the male is the arrow, the female is the plus, and the male is the ascending arrow.
Be careful how you say that. Let us know when you're ready. All right, Virginia, this is a fascinating mask. Can you tell us about the origin of it and how it developed into a performance piece?
Well, this mask was developed to represent Hymen, who is the god of marriage. And since I have a scientific background, my husband's a physician and I've been, of course, a medical illustrator, I decided to use the scientific symbols for male and female. Female, male. It seems to me that's very appropriate for the god of love.
Yes.
Is that enough?
Okay.
Unless you, how did you
Should I talk? Oh,
Shall I put this?
The only other thing that we might, I don't know whether you feel it would be a good idea to say, then the process seems to flow. Sometimes it comes, the ideas come from the mask to the
That's true.
dance, to the
Yes,
music,
one never knows.
and they flows.
That's part of the collaboration.
That's
Each
part
of us,
our
yes, I
collaborative
think that's a
process.
very, but I think maybe you can do this when you're working together, that a serendipity enters into it.
Yes, that's a good word for it.
Why don't you just rephrase that again, just without too much background?
Well, we were discussing the interplay of ideas of who comes first, which comes first. I decided that I think of it as a serendipitous endeavor where one thing leads to another. We don't even know what's going to happen in the end.
Virginia?
Yes?
Put the mask down, what happens is, I'm picking it up, just put it down. Okay. Good. Now just lay it on the table. As soon as the bells stop, I want to,
This black one is all right. This white stuff is confusing.
okay.
Well, it seems to me that the process of working and creating together is a fascinating one. And each one brings some little point of departure. It's a serendipitous project, and we go along and never quite knowing what's going to happen. And so we try to capture our inspiration as we go along. I start from masks, Pat starts from gesture, Blair from drama. I guess Marnie has many attacks too. That's why it's so much fun to work with these people.
But it's hard to pin it down.
Mhm. It's hard to pin it down, yes. Now, did you want me to put on the mask?
No, that's great, it really is good. It's probably and one for the video. Fade out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
is
great.
nice.
Shall I pack up?
Shall we do Blair and Virginia?
Let's talk about move on. Use this for credits. That's like a great finale. Should we use the credits? Come on. Let me run a little bit of credits. A lot of credits. How many credits do you have? That's all.
What do you mean?
Where were they?
Yeah, I've used them. I got 2 tapes for us. So we can see what.
That's, no, I've never seen them, but that's what these days. Betty Davis.
Okay, so we are.
I was really thinking where it was, way down.
Boston on Sunday.
We're excited about
I don't need it until the weekend.
The secretary did get it more after she.
I would love to
Separate the rehearsals from starting it out.
They play furniture there? I'm gonna buy a tree step. Tree step. Girl, she has tree step. How do you make those? You take their step. It's amazing in Evanston. And I paid, it wasn't so terribly much, $20 or $25 for it. Now there's
See how we can have a VCR, we can make our own. Oh, our rehearsal.
our rehearsals, yeah.
There's 2
all
whole tapes.
Yeah.
We now have 2 complete tapes of that. Humor is another tape. Now, humor is now mixed up. I believe Francis is one of the classes. So I pulled it in. That can all be eventually.
But right now, are we going to join in with Virginia?
We're supposed to
Oh,
eat
you were going
Virginia.
to take this, I sort of wanted to space in my house. Oh, I don't have to.
Yeah, well, we have to do
He's
it
taking,
a little bit
he's
more.
taking it now, so
Yeah, you can take your time.
where's my M cup?
Oh, I put on the sink. Are you starting? It's a good place.
Yeah,
Let's start.
the flock of them just went by.
He's looking up. Are we going? Oh, Blair, biographical history from you. We would like some biography.
Okay, a little bit of the background of, first I was a seed. Actually, as far back as I can remember, I think I must have been dancing in the womb. I've loved dance. That was my first love. Movement, dance, the excitement of that has always stayed with me. I've gotten off into different fields for various reasons. From dance, I went into art. I became a fashion illustrator in New York for many years. And from that, I got into styling and makeup for advertising photography. But throughout the whole thing, I've always loved movement and dance. And I've studied on and off different techniques, from African to modern ballet, tap dancing. And I met Virginia during one of my forays back into my art background when I moved to Chicago from New York. And I discovered the Evanston Art Center in Evanston, where I was living. And it was a beautiful place, right on the lake. And